Right then, the final game of the Premier League season. After this, it's just the FA Cup final for Manchester United left to play. And I've gone with a very heavily rotated side, which we will get into a little bit later on. But before we do, Ten Hag's not done that at Manchester United, and I don't know enough about what he did at Ajax to know if he ever heavily rotated. It doesn't appear to. I mean, he's gone pretty much best 11 week in, week out. So the chances are tomorrow he's going to do the same thing and he's going to play the same team that we see week in, week out. But a boy can dream. I think there's some players that could put themselves in contention, and I think there's also probably some good buys to be had for the Old Trafford crowd here as well. So let's talk about Fulham then, and Manchester United coming into this game. So, of course, we secured our Champions League qualification on Thursday with a 4-1 win over Chelsea at Old Trafford, and are now unbeaten at Old Trafford since the first day of the season, where we lost to Brighton, which is not bad. We should rest players. We really should rest players to give ourselves a glimmer of hope against City. Fulham are unbeaten in their last 3 in the league, but they haven't beaten a United at Old Trafford for 20 years. And we've won all 5 of our Premier League games against promoted sides this season. Last winning all 6 in a single campaign all the way back in 2012. If we rotate and it works and we win the FA Cup, I don't really give a shit about this game. You're playing for a little bit of pride and maybe some minutes for some people. But that'd be a nice little stat to tick for us as well. Now, Fulham play in a 4-2-3-1, a 4-1-2-3 when they go forward. And they've got really fluid positioning of their number 10, and it makes it a bit of an awkward shape to pinpoint on the defensive side. But Silva's men block in the very normal 4-4-2 or 4-4-1-1 system. Fulham stay really compact and structured for the majority of the time, and they build up through counter-attacks through the likes of, as we know, Dan James, Harry Wilson, or Cordova-Reid on the wings. They build out from the back in that 3-2 shape, which is becoming quite the norm in top-flight football, really. And then Robinson and Reid give them a little bit of balance and symmetry on either side. That usually leaves Palhinha as the main central man, as a bit of a pivot, and they use him to sort of draw opposition's midfield, which then creates space for him for Pereira to roam. They are capable of being a footballing side, but their best play, in my opinion at least, comes when they go vertical and quick. And that can look a little bit more Route 1 in nature. But I think that they're good at doing it. And I don't think they should be ashamed of doing it. I think they should continue to do it, in all honesty. If it works for them, why wouldn't you do it? And of course, launching balls forward long isn't necessarily an attractive style of play, but it's effective. And it's effective when you've got Mitrovic up front. And they've massively outperformed what any of us thought Fulham were going to do this season. So why, and they do at times play really attractive football. So it's not the only thing they do, but it's an effective thing that they can do. They commit few men to counter-pressing the opposition. They prefer to get back in their shape before really starting to press. They tend to sit in a bit of a mid-block and wait for their opportunity to pounce. Palhinha in a single pivot is one of the best destroyers in the league, and they heavily rely on him for the possession regains. That being said, the star man is Mitrovic. 14 goals in 23 Premier League games this season is really well done from him. He would have probably got over 20 if he'd have played in all the games. He is known for his aerial ability in the box. He's got strength, he's got height, but he's less probably acknowledged for the intelligence that he's got. He's got really, really good striker predatory movement, and he creates opportunities in and around the penalty area with that movement. He's got actually pretty underrated 1v1 dribbling as well, and he can drive the ball forward. He is definitely a monster at holding the ball up and bringing his teammates into play. That's something that, you know, I actually think he'd be a pretty good signing for United if he was cheap enough. He could do something. And he's deceptively quick and powerful. And he starts ahead of Vlahovic, which is someone that a lot of United fans really want. And here's the thing. People will turn their nose up at Mitrovic and piss themselves to bring in Vlahovic. Yet, the manager that has the opportunity to play either plays Mitrovic. So what does that tell you? Right then, our sponsor Surfshark has partnered with us to bring you this video. And Surfshark is a virtual private network that safeguards your online identity by encrypting all information exchanged between your device and the internet. This means that your personal data is protected from cyber criminals and large companies. And additionally, Surfshark can change your IP address, giving you the ability to appear as if you're in a different location around the world. Here's some of the ways that Surfshark can benefit you. Encryption of your online data and protection of your personal information when you use free public Wi-Fi, which is a prime target for hackers. Masking of your IP address to keep your city, country, and download history private. Surfshark does not track, monitor, or store your online activities. Changing of your virtual location to access content that might not be available in the current region, such as BBC iPlayer. Protection of your online activities when streaming movies, playing games, and visiting potentially dangerous websites with Surfshark's Clean Web feature. This feature blocks ads, malware, and phishing attempts to ensure that you are safe when you are streaming, and the ability to use one account on unlimited devices, including phones and laptops. If you're interested in trying Surfshark, use the code Howson, that's HOWSON, to receive an exclusive offer of 3 months extra for free, and you can follow the link in the video description to take advantage of the offer. And additionally, Surfshark offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there is literally no risk in giving it a try. So what are you waiting for? Get in a mix. In terms of the United 11 and the rotated United 11 that I would go with, I'll go with Big Dave in net. You might see Jack Butland get the opportunity to sort of pretend he played for United somewhat. However, I would go with Dave in net. And then I would go with Dalot, Maguire, Varane, and Malacia, which is rotated but not mental. Midfield, I'll go Fred and McTominay. I know we've seen this film before, but I would go with them just so that they're getting a little bit of minutes in them ahead of the FA Cup final. I would go with Bruno in the 10 as usual and keep him there for chance creation. And I'd mix it up on the wings. I'd go with Garnacho and Palestri on the wings and see if one of them can force his way. And that's the motivation that you give them. Listen, one of you puts in man of the match performance, you're playing the FA Cup final. Simple as. And then Weghorst up front, because it's probably the last time he's going to play for us, isn't it? I'm potentially the same with Harry Maguire as well. The match winner for United in this, I mean, Bruno's a very obvious choice, but I actually genuinely think Garnacho, he is so direct, it's hilarious. And he's capable of creating something out of nothing from sheer will and making it happen. And he's such a refreshing player to watch because he has got zero fear, zero backward step. He is all go, all push. He hasn't made up the numbers as a youngster. He hasn't really been learning his craft and feeling his way through. He's been exploding into games and making things happen and being impactful. When he gets the opportunity to go 1v1, his willingness to express himself and to take that player on is incredible. And it makes you want to watch football. I love that stuff about him. And I think I'd fancy him to put on a bit of a show if he gets to start in the last game of the season. I think he would be like, what's that? Starting at Old Trafford, potential to impress and push myself into the starting 11 for the FA Cup final. Watch this, fuckers. I think he'd be full of confidence. He's never short of it. And I think his ability to beat a man against a team that's probably going to look to sit and stay compact could be the difference maker. Because in modern football, you get so many teams that just get lulled into the trap of doing the horseshoe. Chelsea the other night dominated the ball against United. They did fucking nothing with it. You can allow a team to have the ball. If the team's got the ball on the halfway line and they're just knocking it around side to side, who cares? Genuinely, who cares? They're doing nothing with it. You want penetration. You want excitement. You want forwards that don't care about taking a man on. That's what you want. And Garnacho brings that. So I would love to see him do that. So how do you beat Fulham? Well, Garnacho, you start out wide. It's where they're the most vulnerable and where we are most dangerous. And I think even though you stay away from Palhinha because he's a monster in the central areas, but he doesn't get over to the wings to cover it, and he certainly can't cover both wings. Shaw at fullback would have given us a lot more of a 2v1 presence. I think we don't know what his injury situation is, or at the time of recording, I don't know what the injury situation is with him. But either way, he gets rested ahead of the final. So it'd be Malacia, I assume, could be Dalot, but it probably be Malacia. And Fulham do have a little bit of quality and dynamism in the wide areas because that's where they like to counter. So I'd actually leave the fullbacks just on the halfway line anyway and try and create with our own wingers going 1v1 against their fullbacks. I think that's something that you can do. And then I would say physicality. Mitrovic is going to be a handful up top. And that's another reason why you throw Maguire in there, someone that will actually go head-to-head with him and probably dominate him in the air somewhat. But they're very energetic inside and out of possession, and that's a little bit why you bring Fred and McTominay in for this. See, it was all in here. It wasn't just randomly fucking picked out of my ass. They're very energetic, and you can match that in midfield a little bit. With the job being done, as far as United are concerned, and people probably mentally not wanting to go straight into 50-50s, you play a rotated side and you say to them, you're not in my plans today for the FA Cup final, but you get to pick the team. So show me what you've got. And then you go into a team where the players that are playing are more motivated than your first choice 11 would be, who might be too scared to go into a 50-50 and potentially risk fucking themselves up for next week against Manchester City. There we have it. That's the final Premier League preview. I'm sort of looking forward to doing the next preview and sort of dreading doing the next preview because I'm shitting it. And all the implications surrounding what could happen with United and City in that game as well. But there you go. That's it. Final Premier League preview from me. Get your score predictions in and I'll see you in the next one. Layers. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.